Mark Gibson's Human Rights Channel. Accountant with designations CPA, MBA, CMA, ACPA, ASA, Australia. Enjoy learning!
Custom pricing decision, I think this is somewhat siguro the easiest part or easiest chapter in strategic cost management. Kasi at this stage, you already know absorption costing and your uh, contribution margin approach, no? Yung contribution pro forma financial, income statement mo, no? So, pag-usapan ngayon natin yung different factors affecting pricing decisions. So, number one, customer demand. And market forces, no? Siguro parehas lang naman yan. Dahil when we say customer demand and market forces, ito yung law of your supply and demand. Siyempre, it will have an impact to your prices. Number two, yung competitors' action. Siguro ang good example nito itong Globe and Smart. So imagine pag naglabas, especially before, no, yung sa prepaid, pag naglabas ng promo si Smart, automatic si Globe tatapatan niya yan. So, and because of those actions, it will have an impact syempre dun sa pricing decisions. And especially, itong mga pricing decisions na to, it follows different marketing strategies na, no? And next, government regulations. So, ako nga, recent lang ako bumili ng powdered juice. So, because of the sin tax pala, so sin tax covers yung tobacco, tsaka yung mga sugary products, no? So, government imposed higher taxes on those products. And in turn, these manufacturers, syempre, tinasan yung price, no, to cover those taxes. So ngayon ko lang nalaman, nung bumili ako ng powder juice, na yung powder juice pala, before kasi nabibili ko lang yun for 10 pesos. Ngayon nasa 28, 29 pesos per pack. So, ayun, I was just surprised, no, na gano'n na siya kataas ngayon. Kasi for, I think, 3 months, in the case of tobacco naman, kasi while hindi ako nag-smoke, buong pamilya ko yata nag-smoke. So alam ko yung price ng yung naging change sa price ng mga cigarettes, no. Anyway, cost, of course, no. Syempre, dependent do sa cost to manufacture or cost of your services, that will definitely impact or affect your pricing decision. Syempre, ang gusto naman natin talaga ang objective natin is to maximize the profit, di ba? Di ba sabi nga natin maximize shareholders wealth. Now, pag-usapan natin what are the pricing computations and formula. Like I said, ito naman is hindi na bago. Pero lalagyan lang natin ng formula para lang at least, well, for the sake of discussion. Pero like I said, pricing computations are really not new to you because you have already calculated this before. You've encountered how to calculate for your target profit, for your selling price. No? Of course, sabi natin, selling price is your cost plus markup. Markup dependent dun sa kung ano yung i-require sa'yo ng na percentage. No? Target profit, ito naman yung average investment multiplied by your desired return on investment. No? So the general formula to determine selling price per unit is, well, selling price per unit is equivalent to your cost base per unit multiplied by 100% plus markup on cost. Now, kung pag-uusapan naman natin yung markup, paano mag-compute ang markup? So it's your profit required to achieve return on investment plus total annual cost not included in the cost base. Ito, magkakaroon ng difference to between absorption costing and yung contribution approach. Kasi remember, in absorption costing, lahat ng cost mo is part of the manufacturing cost. However, in contribution margin, only variable cost lang. Later on, we'll discuss this in full. No? Annual volume multiplied by your cost base per unit used. So that's how to, well, divided by, no? So yung sum nung nasa taas divided by yung product dito sa ilalim. That's how to compute for your markup percentage. Again, in order for us to reinforce this concept, let's apply it to a problem. So let's have discussion problem number 2. Okay, so what are the requirements? Number 1, cost per unit of fixed overhead and fixed selling and admin expenses. Siguro lagay ko lang dito para hindi ka na malito. Though alam mo naman na yan, automatic yan. Pag wala yung manufacturing dyan, alam mo na. Manufacturing overhead. Baka malito ka sa OH, buuin ko na lang. Okay? So that's requirement number 1. Number 2, desired return on investment. Return on investment. Or your ROI per unit. And then number 3, markup percentage using absorption costing. Markup percentage using contribution approach. Okay. O sige. Solar Corporation produces a product with the following information. So you have your direct materials, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, your fixed manufacturing overhead, variable selling and administrative expenses, and your fixed selling and administrative expenses. Now, it has a desired return on investment of 16%. It has invested assets of 8,250,000 and expects to produce 2,000 units per year. Sige. Pag-usapan natin to, balik lang tayo dun sa Excel file natin. Okay? So, unang question is cost per unit. Sabihin mo pa sa akin, ang dali-dali naman yan, bakit discuss pa natin? Alam ko, nabobore ka, pero please bear with me. So, sabi natin, your total fixed manufacturing overhead is 250,000 and fixed selling and admin expenses, 55,000. So, ang nire-require lang sa atin sa number 1 is cost per unit. So, all we have to do is divide it by 2,000 units. So, 250,000 divided by 2,000 units. So, that's 125 pesos. And your fixed selling and admin expense naman, 55,000 divided by 2,000 units. So, that's 27.5. So, that's requirement number 1. Requirement number 2, your desired, hindi ko ito ma-edit. Pero edit ko siya dun sa desired return on investment. So, paano ba natin compute yan? You have your investment of 8,250,000. Ilang percent kaya yung ROI? Yung desired ROI natin, that's 16%. So, therefore, your desired ROI is 1,320,000. So, that's 8,250,000 multiplied by 16%. Pero, class, remember, ang pinapakompute sa atin is per unit. So, all we need to do is divide it by the total production in units. So, 1,320,000 divided by 2,000. So, that's 660 pesos. That's the desired return on investment per unit. Okay? So, like I said, wala pa tayo talagang, na-encounter mo na to one way or another. So, from our past discussion. Pero siguro, review natin. Paano naman pag-compute ng markup? Ito yung no-brainer ulit, pero sige, pag-usapan pa rin natin. So, sabi natin, number 3, using absorption costing. So, sabi natin, to compute for your markup, yung return on investment. No? So, return on investment natin is 660 plus, ano tong 337.5? Ito yung cost not included in the base. Ano ba yung mga cost na to? Diba? Under absorption costing, ito yung mga administrative, selling and administrative expenses mo, no? So that's 37.5. So that's your variable selling and admin expense of 10, fixed selling and admin expenses of 27.5. Saan na-compute natin yung 27.5 kanina? Ayun. And then given naman tong variable selling and administrative expenses of 10. No? So, kunin natin yung total ng dalawa and then kunin ngayon natin yung base cost. No? Base cost would be your manufacturing cost. So, you have your direct material, your direct labor, and the overhead. No? Again, in absorption costing, hindi naman kasi natin dinidistinguish between fixed and variable. No? So, in absorption costing, pag sinabi nating manufacturing cost, included lahat siya as your manufacturing cost. No? So, meaning your direct labor, overhead, your direct labor, direct material, direct labor, and the overhead, whether variable or fixed. Pero again, alam nyo na yan noon pa. So, kunin lang, ay divide lang natin yung dalawa. So 697.5 divided by 250 pesos. So that's 279%. Okay? Ngayon, pag-usapan natin, paano pag contribution costing or contribution approach? Again, in contribution approach, alam nyo naman na ang manufacturing cost nyo includes your direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead and variable selling and admin expenses. No? So in that case, you have to ano lang yung hindi kasama. Ang hindi kasama would be the fixed element. No? So that's your fixed manufacturing overhead plus fixed selling and admin expenses. So 660 plus 152.5, so that's 812.5. Again, divided by your total manufacturing cost, which is your direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, and variable selling and admin expenses. No? So divided to 812.5 divided by 135, so that's 602%. So doon lang siguro, no? So be careful in calculating for markup percentage. Kailangan alam mo muna kung ano yung costing method. Is it full cost or absorption cost or contribution costing or contribution approach? Actually, that ends our discussion.
This has been your instructor, Mark Gibson. Thank you for learning with us. See you in our next discussion. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya!